Hi, I'm Jake, and today is going to be the first video in a series of videos where I outline all the gear that you'll need for a simple weekend backpacking trip. And so through these videos, I'll break down all the gear that I take into small categories and then go through and explain each category in detail, explaining why I bring the gear, some pros and cons about the gear, and just my overall recommendation. And so to get started, we'll start off with the most essential pieces of gear that you need for a backpacking trip. And that's going to include a good pair of hiking boots, a backpack, and some trekking poles. All right, let's get started with the hiking boots. So I like to use Zamberlan boots. I find them to be very comfortable and sturdy. They have great ankle support. So if that is all things that you're looking for in a hiking boot, I definitely recommend these. But I will admit, they are a little bit pricey. So if you maybe want to start off with a little bit cheaper pair of hiking boots, I completely understand that. But there are two things I would look for in a hiking boot no matter what you're getting. And that's going to be a Gortex lining and a Vibram sole. So a Gortex lining is going to waterproof your boot. So you'll be able to walk through shallow streams, and as long as the water doesn't come up above your ankle, your feet will stay dry. And then a Vibram sole is just a stronger tread that's not going to wear away as quickly. So you'll always have good traction when you're hiking, and you won't be slipping and sliding over any rocks. And this boot does have both of those, a Gortex lining and a Vibram sole. But I do want to say, I kind of view boots as an investment. So I don't mind paying a little bit extra for a high quality pair of hiking boots because I know they're going to last me 5, 6, 7 years. Whereas maybe a cheaper pair of boots might have to be replaced a little bit more often. But it's really up to you what you do. Alright, so next is going to be the trekking poles. And for myself, I've been using Komperdell trekking poles for a long time. They're made out of aluminum, so they're really lightweight and practically indestructible. They have a carbide tip on them, so that's going to give you good firm contact every time you put the hiking pole down. It's going to punch through any debris on the ground and just make sure that, yeah, you're always getting good firm contact. And then they also have these lever locks on them, so you can unclip the lock, slide the pole out to whatever length you desire, lock it back, and everything's going to stay in place, and you can have your pole set up to whatever height that you need it. And now I definitely recommend using a trekking pole whenever you go out hiking because they're going to reduce the impact that your knees take. And I think anything you can do to help preserve your body on the trail is a good thing. And then also, if you're going down really steep terrain or crossing a river, trekking poles are just going to give you more points of contact with the ground, which will help reduce the chance of you slipping and falling. And those are things best to avoid whenever you're out backpacking. So there are many different types of trekking poles, and you don't technically have to use Komperdell. Really, you just need to find a good lightweight pair and something that you enjoy yourself. So you can search around and maybe do some price comparison and see what all is out there and what works for you.
I really hope you're enjoying this video and getting a better understanding of the most essential pieces of gear that you'll need for a weekend backpacking trip. And if you have any questions about this gear, you can leave them down below in the comments, and I'd be more than willing and happy to discuss with you and go into more detail about what I'm using. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure that you're hitting that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and make sure that you click that little bell icon next to the subscribe button and switch it to all. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video and you won't miss out on any of the other videos in this series.
So last, but most certainly not least, is your backpack. And this is honestly probably one of the most important pieces of gear that you're going to have whenever you go backpacking, because this is how you carry all your gear with you. So this backpack specifically is made by Deuter, and that's a German-made brand, and they do everything they can to make their backpacks out of sustainable and renewable materials, which I think is great. You know, anything we can do to reduce our impact with the earth is great. So this backpack specifically is the Futura Air Trek 50-liter pack, and then the lid here can expand for an additional 10 liters, and so that gives you a total of 60 liters of space, and I find that to be more than enough for a simple weekend backpacking trip. And so probably some of my favorite things about this bag are the amount of storage that it has and all the different pockets and the ways that you can access that storage. So to get started, you have your brain pocket on top, and you just unzip it. You can store different things here up top, and then you can flip the brain up, and you've got a little storage pocket here on the inside. So small things like your keys and wallet, stuff like that can go in there. And then on the outside of your pack, you have a big storage compartment right here. You have your water bottle pockets on each side. And then you also have little storage pockets on your hip belts. And so those are on each side of the hip belt. And then the main compartment of the pack is right here. So you can see it expands up. That's where those additional 10 liters can come from. And then everything just stuffs down into your backpack here. So you stuff everything in from the top or from the bottom, and you just build up to the top. And then once you have your bag packed, you can cinch it down and everything will stay good and contained in that main compartment. And if you need something at the very bottom, you can just unzip this big pocket right here. And now you have access to the whole main compartment of your bag without having to unpack everything just to get something that's at the very bottom. This is honestly probably one of my favorite features of this backpack, and something that I haven't seen really in any other backpack. And so you also have a storage compartment down here on the bottom. So your sleeping bag, or for me, my tent, and my sleeping pad fit down here. So I'll keep both of those down here in the very bottom. And then you also have a great ventilation system. So the way that the backpack is set up, it's an internal frame, and you have this great mesh here on the hip belt and the back here, and it's also on the shoulder pads. So that just helps to keep your body a little cooler while you're hiking. And then the back here also holds the pack off a couple inches from your back, so you can still get a little breeze and all when you're hiking, and just help keep yourself a little cooler. And then also another great feature about this backpack is down here at the very bottom, there's this little zipper, and you can unzip it, and out comes your rain fly. So you don't even need to have a different rain fly for this backpack. It comes with one, and it comes out, and it'll fit over your bag real easily. It's got an elastic band, so it'll hold tight around your backpack. And then whenever you're done using it, you can fold it up, or I just kind of crumple it up and stuff it back into that pocket. And it's all contained within the backpack itself. And so honestly, this backpack is very versatile in the amount of storage that it has, and just the ways that you can access the different storage compartments. So I highly recommend this backpack if you're looking to buy a backpack. But if you already have one that works for you, or you're maybe looking for just gonna shop around, I'd recommend at least a 50-liter backpack for a 2 or 3 night backpacking trip. And then also you can get an internal frame pack or an external frame pack. It's really up to you. I would say internal frame packs are more in right now, so it's definitely gonna be easier to find one of those. But if you're gonna be maybe carrying bulkier gear, or you just want some maybe different ways of carrying, like lashing gear onto your backpack, an external frame might be more preferable, because you're going to have just a greater ability of tying things to the pack than you would with an internal frame backpack. But it's really up to you what you end up choosing, whether it's an internal or an external frame. I would just say definitely make sure that you're at least getting a 50-liter minimum. Well, sweet. This really sums up all you need to know for the most essential pieces of backpacking gear. And so you've got your backpack, your trekking poles, and your hiking boots. And whether you decide to go with these pieces of gear or maybe look for something different is really up to you. But I at least hope that you have a better understanding of what to look for in each one of these pieces of gear. And maybe this video will help you get started with your own backpacking journey, and maybe one day I'll see you out there on the trail. So until next time, keep on trekking.